Well, Chesterfield's move in 2010 to the B2 Net Stadium, well, it's all been done before, because after the cricket club of the town had started up the football club in the late 1860s, when they used to change in the county hotel down the road in Saltergate, the old recreation ground used to be here on Tennyson Avenue. It's difficult to ascertain exactly where the positions were, but we reckon this might be just about the corner of the ground. And after a few years of existence, when the cricket club needed to move on, they moved from here in Tennyson Avenue to there, just down the road, the new recreation ground a little bit further down Saltergate.
And this is where the 139 years of history has been made. We'll be looking at the high points and heroes of the club's long association with Saltergate. The War Cup, the promotion seasons, the FA Cup run, the Great Escape, and the dramatic last match against Bournemouth. We'll see how the place has developed. We'll see great goals. We'll see dramatic match action from the place we've called home for so long. But first of all, let's go back to 1871, the last time Chesterfield Football Club decided to uproot and move.
Well, rather like it's a momentous decision for Chesterfield to move to the B2 Net Stadium in 2010, it must have been a momentous decision to move way back in 1871 to come here to Saltergate. But I believe it was probably more of a cricket decision than a football decision.
Well, indeed, the cricket club were in charge of the football club just at the time, and when the cricket club had to leave the old recreation ground that way and walk across 2 fields to come here to play their cricket, of course the football club came with them.
And of course, before any football had been played here, that first match against Rotherham, there was cricket on the recreation ground.
Indeed, a full season of cricket and athletic sports as well. They reckon some 8,000 people came out to watch these athletic sports, where there was pole vaulting and high jumping and all that kind of thing. Cricket club put them on to try and make some money to pay back what they'd had to shell out to build the recreation ground, or at least to have it laid out. But they lost money on it, and I suppose it's established a tradition that's continued to this day, perhaps.
But again, in that summer, there were some personalities did play when the Chesterfield Cricket Club played as well.
Yes, all the footballers played cricket, of course. People like Widowson, the chap who invented the shin guards, came here and competed in athletic sports and cricket matches. And over the years, some pretty famous England cricketers have played here. People like W.G. Grace even. And Chesterfield had an England cricketer on its earliest books. A number of many famous people. England footballers have played here in the early years as well.
Of course, football was still very much in its infancy at that time, so when the first match was eventually played here, I would imagine whoever it was that had the job of honorary fixtures secretary had quite a task to find regular matches.
Well, fortunately, the people in Sheffield, just up the road, were playing a fairly well-developed version of their game at the time, and so we started off as a Sheffield rules team, 14 aside, handling the ball. Basically, I suppose it would have looked like rugby union does now, perhaps. But handling the ball went out fairly shortly. Offsides came in. We started using the crossbar instead of a tape, and it gradually changed into the sort of form that we know today.
And very much Chesterfield playing a part in that early development of the game into that form.
Well, indeed, yes, because of our sort of strange geographical position, being in Derbyshire but almost socially and politically belonging more to Sheffield. It was a kind of halfway house, and the Sheffield players would come down here and practice the association rules against our team because we had a bit more experience of playing them, you know.
And the association rules, no doubt, were dominating the teams around the Nottingham area at that time.
Yes. But every area had its own little version of the rules. Sometimes games here would be the first half played association rules and the second half played Sheffield rules, which must have been fantastically confusing.
So in terms of those very earliest years here at Saltergate, what were the key moments, the key games, the key players that elevated Chesterfield into that league status?
Gosh, one of the first key players who comes up was a chap called George Wormersley, who nobody would have ever heard of. He was a post office clerk in the 1870s, but between about 1871 and 1878 he scored almost every goal that Chesterfield scored. When the fashion in those days was to give the ball to the player who could dribble it best, and he went off on a big long dribble up the field, and all his mates followed him and knocked everybody else out of the way, and when he got up to the goal he'd have a shot and in it goes, you know.
So an early Jack Lester.
Well, if you like, yes, very much so, yes. We come up, of course, into the 1890s. We have people like Billy Kerwin, who was a noted local player, despite the fact that he was born without any arms. Didn't play in goal, obviously. Of course, we come to the great Herbert Munday, who arrived here in 1892 from Eckington and stayed here until, 1912, something like that. Enormously long career, stayed loyal to the club because the club was fair to him, and that was as simply as he saw it, you know.
One thing you'll never experienced here at Saltergate is Chesterfield winning promotion. 69-70, promotion clinch when Chesterfield were playing away at Exeter. 84-85, clinch without playing a game because Hereford failed to beat Chester City. And of course there was the 94-95 win at Wembley, great place to be. But those of us, as I say, under 80, have got very few memories of great moments at Saltergate, cup games apart. But where I'm standing now is the best place in the ground to have been on the last day of the 2003-2004 season, the Luton game. Farland's side started off very badly that season, and by Christmas had been written off as being relegated. But I remember the game away at London Road, Peterborough United, Jamie McMaster coming in, and a win that all of a sudden gave us a little bit of hope, and we had that little bit of a run and looked as though we might climb out of trouble. Just had a few falters towards the end, and it came to that last day of the season. Chesterfield Luton. All eyes on the pitch here, all eyes or ears on the radio to see what was happening at Tranmere Rovers against Grimsby. Ironically, Grimsby managed by Nicky Law, the former Chesterfield favourite and manager at that time. Anyway, Grimsby started off well and they were winning, and it all looked gloomy for the Spirites. But then Tranmere came back, went into the lead against Grimsby, and so it was down to the Spirites to see if they could get that goal. We all remember the 1985 snooker World Final when Dennis Taylor came back to beat Steve Davis on the last black ball of the game. Well, it was getting to the last black ball of the game here. 88 minutes on the clock. The game had started a minute later because there had been a minute's silence for the Duke of Devonshire, the president of the club. So 88 minutes on the clock. Defender in Everett had moved up a little bit. Long ball from the back came up. Everett flicked on. Picked up by Glynnhurst. Couple of touches. Took it into the inside box, just down there, and then flicked the ball past the goalkeeper and set an eruption the likes of which I've never seen in the league game here at Saltergate. Realised he'd scored, realised the magnitude of it, ran towards the fans down in the corner there of the Cop and Compton Street, celebrated with everybody. There was a mini pitch invasion, just a couple of minutes to go, and the referee managed to clear the pitch, and we played out the last few moments. And I remember David Reeves dancing up and down on the touchline. I'd been doing a commentary on the match that day, and I was honoured to be able to walk around with a radio mic and do live interviews with all of the players as they took their lap of honour. One of the greatest moments of my Chesterfield supporting time here. Absolutely fantastic. As I say, no promotion since the war here at Saltergate, but that one moment at the end of the season in 2004 just captured the spirit of the place. Who'd have thought that all it was avoiding relegation? But season ticket sales that summer just went through the roof, and the bug was well and truly picked up by hundreds and hundreds of people who perhaps hadn't been regulars that season, and Glynnhurst did it.
We start this afternoon at Saltergate, final match of the 2003-2004 season with the minute silence for the Duke of Devonshire and Chatsworth House, who passed away this week. The president of the Chesterfield Football Club passed away this week at the age of 84. The Chesterfield and the Luton Town sides in action today in the Nationwide League Division 2. We'll give you now as the kick-off is about to take place. First of all, the Chesterfield in goal is number 1, Carl Muggleton. Number 3, Alan O'Hare. Number 4 is Kevin Dawson. Number 5, Steve Blatherwick. Number 8, Mark Ellett, as kick-off gets underway. It's going to be O'Hare this time. Oh, it's driven, and it was a good save. Good effort from Alan O'Hare. Good save by Dean Brill, the Luton goal. Brandon tried to lay it off to Reeves, but Luton defenders between them managing to cut that ball out. The flag's gone up on the far side, and the free kick again is to Luton Town. It could be the last action of the first half. As Chris Coyne, well, he thought about taking it. He's going to leave it instead to Nielsen. Square ball to Davis and back to his goalkeeper, and indeed referee Eddie Evans blows the half-time whistle at Saltergate. No goals at half-time here, but it still could be significant as far as other results are concerned if Chesterfield can snatch a lead in the second half. Welcome back to Saltergate, everybody, for the second half of this Nationwide League Division 2 game between Chesterfield and Luton Town. No goals at half-time, Chesterfield 0, Luton Town 0, but a must-win game for Chesterfield. They have to win it with any chance to have any chance at all of staying in Division 2 this season in its final league game of the season. Chesterfield to kick off this second half, and playing towards the top end, which is always provides a little bit more encouragement. Let's hope Chesterfield can get something out of this today and hope the results go right at half-time as we kick the second half off. Rushton and Diamonds a goal down at home against Port Vale. Brentford 0, Bournemouth 0, and Tranmere 0, Grimsby Town 1. One good result, one bad result, and one indifferent result among those three. Blatherwick's header. Ball wide by Nielsen to Foley. Cross from Alan Nielsen. Shawumbi's in there. Driven by Forbes. Took a deflection. And again, a let-off for Chesterfield. Luton looking dangerous in the last 5 minutes or so. They gain another corner. To be taken by Robinson. The ball in. Goes through everybody and out to play for the goal kick. Again, more action at Prenton Park. Tranmere Rose now leading Grimsby by 2 goals to 1. That must be the cheer from the crowd, encouraged by results starting to go their way. Grimsby are losing, Rushton are losing, and if those two lose and Chesterfield win, Chesterfield will stay up. But the important thing is Chesterfield need a goal here. Certainly hear what they're saying. But again, if Chesterfield can't get the points here, it won't matter what anybody else does. O'Leary for Luton. Showing me. Little ball looking for Nichols' run, but put out by Everett. Nichols retrieves it though. The ball in here for O'Leary, chance for Luton, and O'Leary's touch wasn't good. The ball goes out of play for the goal kick. Meanwhile, at the other end of the field, we've got a Luton man down on the edge of the centre circle. I think it's Chris Coyne that's, well, he's just up back to his feet now, in fact, as Carl Muggleson prepares to take the goal kick. So, Grimsby Town are losing at Tranmere. Rushton and Diamonds are losing at home against Port Vale. Brentford are winning at home against Bournemouth. And Glynhurst, the chance here for Chesterfield! Glynhurst, the ball down the field. Glynhurst scores for the Spirites, and Chesterfield could yet survive. What a goal from Glynhurst! A big kick downfield. Spirite supporters absolutely delighted. Glynhurst, with 3 minutes remaining, has put the Spirites in front. They need to get off the pitch quickly. Supporters need to get off the pitch quickly and let the game continue, but Chesterfield have the lead. Glynhurst the scorer of the goal. High drama at Saltergate in these dying minutes then. Chesterfield have the lead. If results stay the same, Chesterfield will stay up. And Glynhurst getting his share back on there. Scorer of 12 goals this season, that's number 13 for him. Will it be lucky 13? And we've now had 4 minutes of stoppage time. Surely there can't be much more to this. Luton have the throw. The ball clears to Shawumbi. ever got a foot in there. The ball goes across now to Emerson Boyce for Luton Town. And the final whistle goes in Saltergate. Chesterfield have beaten Luton Town this afternoon, and in a mass pitch invasion of supporters, Chesterfield look like they've stayed up. The way the results have gone, Grimsby Town have been beaten at Tranmere Rovers. These are not results but latest scores. Rushton and Diamonds are 2-0 down at home against Port Vale, and as supporters invade the pitch here at Saltergate, Chesterfield are 1-0 winners over Luton Town. That will be enough to keep them in the second division next season. It was tight all the way. It took right until the last 3 minutes when Glyndhurst put the ball into the back of the net on 87 minutes, and players are absolutely mobbed there as they head for the tunnel. Certainly not scenes of violence, but scenes of celebration as Chesterfield supporters encroach onto the field of play. But delight, it's almost as though they've got promotion. They've not got anywhere near that, but they've just managed to survive, stay in Division 2. It was a monumental task after defeat at Oldham last Saturday, but they managed to do it this afternoon. Players heading for the tunnel, lost among the crowd there, really. Delight for Chesterfield supporters, Luton supporters applauding their team as they go off. The Luton players making themselves scarce as quickly as possible. But it's all about Chesterfield this afternoon. It's all about staying in Division 2 and what to look forward to next season. Against the odds really today, the Spartans have come good. In the final 3 minutes it was still 0-0 when Glyndhurst popped up to hit the winner for Chesterfield. And I'm sure there's some devastated Grimsby and Rushton supporters today. Let's have a thought for them. But for Chesterfield, it looks like they've stayed in the second division. As supporters leave the field at Saltergate this afternoon, the final score here at Saltergate looks like Division 2 survival. Chesterfield 1, Luton Town 0.
Well, when Chesterfield moved here in the 1930s, this concourse area here, would you believe it? It was a training area. There's extra bits of building being put on in the last few years. There used to be a little bit less breeze block wall here, and players had actually run up and down to practice heading, balls hanging down from the ceiling. They'd practice fitness work, weight work, and everything along those lines. Much, much different to what it is now. Just look round. There's all sorts of stuff in the concourse. Just imagine what a health and safety nightmare that might be on a local derby match. And no local derby match comes bigger than Mansfield, and no local derby match against Mansfield comes bigger than that in the semi-final second leg of the playoff back to 1995. Law, Lormer, Howard, all even Stevens, but in that last 30 minutes of extra time, Chesterfield just took off in a fantastic game under lights, one of the most memorable experiences in the league the Old Ground's ever seen.
Morris, lovely little flick. Here's Lormer. Sharp! So sharp! Wonderful goal, Tony Lormer. That's why Tony Lormer has become a hero and a very quick favourite with the Chesterfield fans. The only sign for them in the new year, he's got 11 goals for them in this time, and that was absolutely razor sharp. Great time for Lormer to score. We're all level again in the tie, 2-2 on aggregate. And just to remind you, if it stays like this, we'll have extra time and we could have a penalty shootout. Mansfield, Wilkinson coming straight back, Holland in the area, might still get a shot in. No, Beasley comes to gather it with Wilkinson and Holland both there. And the match is perfectly poised now. Morris. Wilkinson and Hadley managed to confuse the Chesterfield central defence again. Law stumbles, he might have let him in, he has! A desperate mistake by Nicky Law. Steve Wilkinson says thanks very much for that, and Mansfield are back in front. It always looked a dangerous ball, but Nicky Law, who makes probably only a mistake a season, has made one here without doubt. And what a night on which to make it. Wilkinson, the predator, is in there with him, the ball bobbling nastily, and Wilkinson tucks it away past Andy Beasley. Mansfield back in front, Law furious with himself. Wilkinson's 26th goal of the season. And Hazel signed he was injured, so it's some occasion this for him. Let's see if he can set up a second Chesterfield goal. Carr goes for it. It is a Chesterfield goal. It's 2-2. It's Jonathan Howard, and the game is set up and turned on his head again. Jonathan Howard's first ever goal at Saltergate. Hazel had stuck out right that touchline. Lorna stepped over it. Howard was hoping that Curtis would come in behind him. Simon Island from Mansfield. Not with the same force of the second half, that is for sure. And a bad challenge here. And Lampkin is in real trouble because he was booked in the first half. And Kevin Lampkin gets a second yellow and a red, and off he goes, and Mansfield will play out the rest of this game with 10 men. He had to go. Booked in the first half. Andy King can't believe it. A rueful look on his face as Lampkin walks past him. Almost unnoticed. Certainly no words spoken between the two of them. Hazel finds himself with the ball, and Morris battles away, and he's won his battle as well. Might take it too far though. Still, Hazel's here to pick it up and try and knock it across. That he does. Here they come. And a fabulous save by Darren Ward. Otherwise, Chesterfield were in front for the first time of the night. Ward was certainly appreciated the service from Hazel. And this is one to save. It was Lorna's header. And it's as good a cross as the one he delivered for Lorna's header. He'll be in trouble with the Mansfield defence. The calls for handball. Oh, and Ward makes a no-hitting penalty. The penalty's been given. It doesn't matter that Ward made the save. Handball has been given. And Chesterfield will have the chance to go in front for the first time on the night. Let's have a look here. The referee has turned one handball on the front tonight, but not this one. Opportunity falls to the captain Nicky Law, the man whose mistake presented Wilkinson with a goal earlier on the night. This would be the perfect way to atone for Nicky Law. His second goal only all season. He scored against Gillingham in January. He won't care about that one now. This is the one that matters. And Nicky Law takes Chesterfield ahead for the first time on the night, as cool as a cucumber. Solid work from Carr Here's Morris. Trying to tee someone else off. Well, it's surely a goal. It's only been Chesterfield on the way to the 20 lead. Just about 2 for him, 5 for Chesterfield. You've only got 9 men. How do you defend against this sort of thing?
Season had massive crowds at all the games around the country, and Saltergate here was no exception. The biggest average crowd that I've ever seen. Regularly, crowds approaching 30,000 here on Saltergate. The record crowd in the region of 30,000 against Tottenham Hotspur, of course. And the space absolutely everywhere. Sheets didn't come into it. Only for Newcastle as well, which was a lot more room. And there were 1,200 spaces down here where I'm standing in the old enclosure. But of course, did it build up from 1985 and fire escapes were built every sort of 10 paces or so. And I remember standing many a game in here when I first started coming on a regular basis, dropping the action, all the coming up and field on many occasions during the game.
The team of 1946-47 was the best Chesterfield had. Stan Milburn in defence, great players like Ray Middleton, who won 4 England B caps, watched the greengrocer in New Whittington, George Milburn, and Ken Hooker. Here a big, tough, no-nonsense player. There were so many around about that time. Dick Cushlow, who really, his baggy shorts just looks the epitome of the turn of the war. Football hero. Jack Hudson, a real skillful player who scored some vital goals. He was an absolutely vital member of that success team. And the oldest player ever to play for Chesterfield, Billy Hitt. He'll be hoping that Mark Crossley doesn't surpass that record at some stage during the first season of the B2 now. Billy Lineker was called legs, broke his leg so many times, moved on to play football at the highest sphere. And then Dudley Miller, the only Chesterfield ever scored a full international whilst actually registered as a Chesterfield player. He managed that feat for the Republic of Ireland. Stan Milburn, brother George, and uncle the great Bobby and Jack Charlton, England's 1966 World Cup winners. The snow came relatively early in the winter of the 46-47 season. 8 inches down on the raging ground, and although it did come back later on in the season, that 8 inches of snow really turned the Saltergate surface into a mud bath. until he'll return in January and February with the worst weather the Football League season had ever known. Strength and determination became the watchword to be able to play in conditions like this. They needed plenty of people to be able to clear the terraces as way in, going up to the back of the Kop before the roof was on. You can just see the top gable end of the main stand. And just without putting the net, it looked as though a game day take place. There was no sort of competition. Cut a slot in where the lines are and get a brown ball out and we'll be all right. It's clearing a path to take towards the Saltergate wing stand. Again, the houses on St Margaret's Drive there in the background. When the snow went, the pitch became very bobbly. Just take a look at the terraces there, just a handful of crook barriers. Leader was his rights. It played on in June, but with a final day match victory over Sheffield Wednesday 4-2 with a hat-trick of penalties from George Milburn. Fourth place, the best ever in the same division, was achieved.
Of course, when Aston Villa came to play the cup game here at Saltergate, there were more humble thinking just about this place. Not in the stand, this was built in 1936, part of the League time. The previous stand had been built in 1921 and housed many famous matches. This is where they were taken.
So the Villa, the most famous names in English football, come to Saltergate in 1934. The game was close like that, and 2-2. And used of Chesterfield virtually straight from the kickoff. Outside right, Chesterfield from the second goal, highlights in the fourth quarter of the Hollywood Cup at the end of that season, was released. We couldn't find another club. So the sympathetic director of Chesterfield took him back and the world record was he scored 27 goals and 27 goals. In the days when travelling was much more difficult than it is now, 1,500 fans went where Villa part of the replay. Unfortunately, the Spurs lost 2-0, but that must have been perhaps the greatest away following of the pre-war time for the Spurs.
Well, for the final league match here at Saltergate on May the 8th, 2010, 1,500 Chesterfield fans standing here on Cross Street. And it is news that's not been available for Spireites fans for some time. 40 years ago, beginning of the 70s, until then, you used to move from one many other pointing way to Chesterfield kicking. You could stand on the Kop, move round through Compton Street, come and stand here, or go the other way around, depending on who won the toss, who kicked in which direction. It was beginning of the 70s when Aston Villa came down in the third division. The fence was put up on the middle of Compton Street, stopped them moving around the ground. So there's been Chesterfield fans who've been robbed of the opportunity to see goals like Dave Waller against Halifax, or Trevor Hebbert in that memorable cup tie with Liverpool after the 4 draw out into the lead, great goal into this end. So, well, 40 years without being able to come and stand here. It's been a long, long wait. Those 1,500 against Bournemouth got a view. Really is to looking onto the Kop and the main stand in Compton to our right.
Again, the hit from Bournemouth made so many headers tonight. Right, holds it. Why you exit wide follow on, he can even does superbly. Oh, magnificent play by Dave Waller. He tries to kill the goalkeeper. Oh! now. They murdered Chesterfield in the first half. Murdered 3-1. They won this unbelievable goal. Unbelievable goal. And it's all done miracle out of the fire. Absolutely unbelievable shot on his right foot.
Carr played into space and the back by Chesterfield held it and Chesterfield has got it down. Chesterfield! What is this start? Liverpool's defence sprung again, and the team that got 4 against Chesterfield has got another one now against Liverpool. We've saying he once scored a winner for Southampton against Liverpool, and he's now got the 5th goal in the tie against them.
Yeah, he takes a very quick touch away by Bruce. He puts him under pressure and he finishes very well. It resulted initially on a bad first ball away by Stephen Hill. As you can see there, Heaven helps in there.
What a time to get it. In fact, he's not scored a goal for exactly 2 years.
I don't know about you, I always enjoy this kind of goal. A beauty, an overhead kick from Lee Turnbull, 1-1.
Of course, couldn't do the 96-97 Cup run in full swing. You need to be on the street to see the most dramatic fight that Saltergate's ever seen really come up with. Chesterfield losing Darren Carr and Kevin Davis for this show again, plus the third goal. They were suspended for the Cup quarter-final against Wrexham.
In the north of England, in the great centres of manufacture and industry, football plays a newspaper part of life. In the Yorkshire town of Halifax, a great racing centre, the local team plays Northern Cup tie against Chesterfield. The ground is okay and undefined. The weather is supposed to be lovely, and as a disappointment of that quarter, Halifax is knocked out of the cup. In cup tie football, however, it's the surprises and the changes of his fortune that make the competition very exciting. The Liverpool frequent cup finalists are beaten by Little Chesterfield, who continue to confound the quartet by knocking out team after team until they reach the semi-final. At Chesterfield itself, famous for its cricket power, the whole town can think and talk nothing else down to beating their rivals in that same Everyone who can squeezes into the ground to cheer on the home team. A real North Country cup tie, this hard knock and every man all out for the whole game. But this time the giant killers beat them up. Chesterfield are beaten, and Manchester United scrape into the final by only a goal.
Scored in the 44-45 season in what was called the War League Cup. You yourself had a terrific run, and it started off with quite a few qualifying games. It was a little bit of a little league table, wasn't it?
We had to beat Mansfield down to qualify. Don't take 32. And I got a hat-trick on me.
Yes, a hat-trick against Mansfield bits altogether. That's a good thing, really.
We needed to beat to get the job done.
And what do you remember that game?
Well, I remember scoring with the third goal at this end here. And it just got out. Getting across the line and hit this post and then went in.
And
so it was my lucky day.
And decent crowd that day. You're going. Who were players that you most remember that you were playing alongside with in that setup?
Oh, I can remember Middleton, Alfred doing a little bit of Middleton, Len Robinson, Bill Lineker, Tommy Peter, he was a guest player. Job JB, he sent to a guest player.
You mentioned about the hat-trick you scored against Mansfield Town. qualifying by play against Halifax, where they got into the quarter-final big game. Started coming, and of course the quarter-final was against Liverpool.
Yeah, well, it was
Yeah, 35,000 people there.
Was it at Liverpool?
Liverpool, yeah.
Well, I remember when we played them up here in Chesterfield, I was coming through to the players' entrance, and George Milburn was talking to Matt Busby. I can remember the George I got the new uniform. He was a sergeant or a sergeant major or something. He got his, of course he was walked on. And he told George, he said, "You can win today, George." So George came into the dressing room and told us so. Told him to see how he was.
He was the chairman, of course.
And he said, I'm the chairman of the FA selection committee, George. He said, I can't afford to get into a ground bag off like that. So we got nothing off our...
Well, there was no bonus forthcoming for Liverpool because Chesterfield won 1-0 and you scored. You know what they were for them?
No, just said we're on the back end.
So what do you remember about the goal that you scored in the 1-0 win here at Saltergate? 24,590 goals.
Whatever it was, I don't think Bill Lineker crossed it. I think it was a shot. And the shot came across and I went wide because the goalkeeper came out and it passed in. And I was going into that time. I was there. Well, I just threw myself out. And he's picking it back and everything.
Oh, not one of your great goals. What was the atmosphere of the old place like?
I couldn't get after the game. I couldn't get into the dressing room. I was trying to be funny on the job. You know, I've never seen a crowd on the ground before. I mean, you never used to see the crowd coming on the ground anyway.
Because Liverpool was still a massive team. Do you recall who was playing for
Liverpool? I think Billy Little, Bob Paisley.
I mean, all the old time guys rave about Billy Little. Was he that good?
Yeah, strong as well.
Very neat area, he was as well.
I went to George Hardwick and Will Mannion's testimonial. The Middlesbrough. And of course, Will would play faith with them. Next day, they drag it over a hotel overnight. And the England team were also staying there. They were getting some sob on. I remember this chap saying to Will, I booked you a taxi, Will, but they're running a bit late down to there sometimes. And Bobby Robson, Bobby Hurd, he says he was the manager of the... Anyway, we got in the bus and Bobby Robson walked down that hallway bus passage and he was counting all the players to make sure they're all there. He had to give me a ring so it's not bad for him.
So in those times, in the wartime games, were there any sort of contracts that were on at Chesterfield, or was it a come along and see what's available at any point in time?
We were contracted to whatever club we played for. I mean, I was we were pros, but I got to go to the airport after that run we had with
Well, let's not finish your because of course you just scored the winning goal against Liverpool, and a pretty good club in the semi-final as well, wasn't it? I'm sure you remember
Manchester United.
That's the one.
And we had a bomber goal after, you know, when they played our main road. And I took a free kick there, and Jock Baby Trotsky. It wasn't a shot, it was Trotsky. The goalkeeper came out. Both jumped, went both over the head and the net. So that was a bit lucky as well.
Oh, well, yeah, I'd have made that a 25-yard absolute pile driver. So, but United managed to score one draw.
Yeah, but it must have been 2 yards offside when he scored it.
So back to Saltergate for the second leg. It was a two-leg semi-final. Another big crowd here that day. What it was 24,100. Didn't quite run our way, David.
No, the beat just smartly out the over.
What are your recollections of the game atmosphere again?
Well, it was very, very expensive. We were expecting we didn't play it. Well, we were more or less that at the time, but that was very disappointing.
So in that era, who were the players played against that you remember and stick out in your mind more than any others?
Well, played against Matthew twice. Which was so we played here and at Stoke. And well, I mean, the United were all over it. They were playing so that's one team, one, and because they came out and after those wherever there was station, we'll play for that team locally, you know.
One of the famous here in Chesterfield, as the renowned rookie star, is Ernie Moss, the experienced striker who was born here in the town. He scored 12 of his 14 goals this season, and Saltergate Chesterfield are unbeaten in the league. Arthur Cox has been able to build the same outfield players in the past 16 games, but today he is forced into one change.
We're in an area of Saltergate that probably seen a few feet passage away. We're in the television gantry. The original gantry was put up in 1979, 35 games against Chesterfield. Then another one was built 35 games against probably a year later.
There by Stancliffe into the back of the net from Moss. Made the way through to Walker. Summons. Lining it up on the left foot. It's 2-0. Walker again involved to set Salmons on his way. Rotherham backed off. Salmons didn't hesitate, rushing the fingertips of London into the back of the net.
And for many years, the supporters club always used to video the games. And back in 1989, a game against Chesterfield United, which was the last time a league crowd was in excess of 10,000 people were here to watch the local rivalry Chesterfield against Sheffield United. Of course, Sheffield United were here when the Stone over on the side was originally opened way back in 1936. Of course, when the seats were put in here, they were all built in under the roof, which meant area in front of me here filled in thousands of tons worth of concrete poured in there to really bring it to a level that's just a few inches below the pitch. There's a wall on the far side that used to be stood on front just about your chin level. And the roof that we're sitting under and all the seats are under cover. Originally put up the middle section in the early 1920s, 1921, was Chesterfield getting back into league football after their spell in the Midland League, having not been re-elected in 1909. And then in the 1950s, the roof was extended the full length of the pitch here at Saltergate, which gave everybody the opportunity to get in under the weather, unless of course it was a big crowd and you were late in, and then you'd be standing at the front, open to all the elements. Really terrific place to watch football. I watched a lot of my football from the Compton Street side. Funnily enough, I was never a big lover of the Cup. I always used to like to stand around the halfway line and watch the side. And I've probably watched as many games from this area as any. I think the seating and the terracing that you get in the back now have really added a new dimension to Saltergate. You get a lot of youngsters, a lot of families coming here, and you can still feel part of the match. There's nothing between you and the pitch, and you really feel a living part of the match when you're sitting here, particularly on the front row here at Compton Street. A great place to watch football.
Trying to play this ball out of trouble, Chesterfield, and now a beautiful ball to Waller. Shot! Yes! A lovely goal! And Chesterfield being the lead in the 35th minute. In the knee. Good one, backhand. Yes! Yes! Oh! A backhand by Bruno and an overhead kick by Waller. It deserved a better fate. It looked destined for the bottom. Head by Tom, picked up by Morris. Out to his right to Neely. Cutting inside. Push the ball out to Lee Rogers. Cross coming in. Cross by Morris! Yes! A lovely goal! So Morris puts Chesterfield into a deserved lead. A good ball from the right hand side.
The famous hatch at Saltergate. Okay, since the 1930s, those of us of a certain age have had just about the end of the gate taken off when former General Manager and Secretary Arthur Sutherland used to slam it down shut when you'd finished the transaction to buy your ticket or whatever it was you wanted to do. Well, this hatch really came into its own in the 1967 run. Until then, really, you just turned up at the ground, you paid your money, but the capacity restrictions that had happened after the disasters of the 80s had meant that it was limited, severely limited on the number of tickets you could sell. So all of a sudden, for the big cup games against Forest in the 5th round, and Wrexham in the quarter-finals, and the semi-final itself at Old Trafford against Middlesbrough, and the semi-final replay, this hatch really formed a focal point of the town. People queuing up for miles. They were in there. They were right out there.
Saltergate may be a world away from Wembley, but that marks the start of another FA Cup campaign for two clubs who have notoriously stumbled early in recent years. In the corner with it. Oh, that's a great one from Williams. 1-0 with 5 minutes to go at half-time. And it's a great effort from the former trophy man that puts Chesterfield ahead.
Late forward for Scarborough towards Andy Ritchie. but he was well covered there. And then Mark Williams knocks the ball forward, and here's Davis on the chase, and Kevin Davis, he could be in here, and Kevin Davis gives Chesterfield the lead. His second goal of the season. Well, that's good support on the side from North Derbyshire, who have reached this stage with some impressive results. Bury, who have been regarded as a go side, were beaten. Scarborough and Bristol City, all without the concession of a goal. And then that famous 3-2 win at Burnden Park against Bolton. And that's why Chesterfield is facing Forest here. Including Leslie and Brian Roy. And here is Roy. And there's the shot, which is claimed by Mercer. Well claimed too. Brian Roy on the left foot. Short goal of the Dutchman. He did score a Coca-Cola Cup goal this season, and it required a full-length save. Shielding his eyes against the sun, delivers it long, and Morris is up the tallest, as you would expect of someone of 6'4", and it was Chillington got a final effort in. Stinging it, and no real direction to beat Mark Crossley though. But at least Chesterfield getting a target, getting a shot on target, that will please them. Great physical presence, they call him Bruno, as you would expect. Andy Morris, who's about to have a testimonial season at Saltergate. He's been that ball, he did it! It's a terrific stop from Howard. Crossley just getting his body in the way to deny the Chesterfield man. Otherwise the shot scoreline was on the cards. It's a good delivery in here from Davis. And let's see how close Howard was to beating Crossley. It was just straight at him. Stuart Pearce would be overly concerned if the result was a draw and Forest managed to get Chesterfield back to the City ground. Mark Williams, Holland. Still they're finding it difficult to make right open this Chesterfield defence, which doesn't give much away at any time. The general record shows that their defensive work is probably better than their attacking play. And they've got a chance now. Through the middle, Howard, and he goes down. And the referee is going to give Chesterfield the penalty. And Mark Crossley could go off as well here. Referee Ellery reaches to the pocket, and Crossley is off. Well, this is a dramatic turn of events at Chesterfield. Mark Crossley cannot believe it, but that's the rule. He's taken Howard out. Howard got goal side of the defender. Crossley knew no other way to stop him. And Chesterfield have a penalty against 10 men.
Most memorable goal being against, in the Forest game. I scored a penalty in the Forest game and we won 1-0, so I suppose that'd be my most memorable. I can remember being on penalties for maybe 2 games before that. I think I'd scored the 3 previous 2. I scored one at Luton and one at Wrexham. And then I proceeded to miss the next 3, and then in the semi-final no one knew I was on the penalties and John was shouting for me not to take it, and I asked you to take it, so it was probably a good decision for him to just smash it down the middle in the end. So that was probably my most memorable yeah.
Yeah, so just going back to the Forest penalty then, did you have which side you planted in? It was facing the Forest fans as well.
Yeah, it was facing the Forest fans, and I had quite a few friends in that Forest end, because I'm from close to Nottingham, so quite a few of my mates were in there. I couldn't get a bit of stick off Dean Saunders and Brian Roy asking me which way I was going to put it and all that kind of thing, but I was surprisingly quite calm. It's probably the only time in my career I've been calm in front of the goal, and I think I put the one at Wrexham the same way. I think Marriott got half a hand to that one. Fortunately, I'm not sure what the goal. It was a goalkeeper. I can't remember. Mark Crossley went the wrong way anyway, so it didn't have to be that good a penalty.
Crossley, a shake of the head, is on his way to the dressing room. He won't bother stopping to see the rest of the action. And what a chance for Chesterfield of Division 2. And Alan Fettis is the substitute goalkeeper. But a moment for him to have to come on though. They face a penalty, and it will be Tom Curtis who takes it for Chesterfield. He's had successes from the spot before now. and the former Loughborough University student. Giving Chesterfield the lead here, and he scores! Chesterfield 1, Nottingham Forest 0, and you will be able to hear the roar as far as Nottingham. But the acclaim is coming up from those Chesterfield fans. One moment as well for Don Curtis, who kept his cool, picked his spot to the right of Pettis, and Chesterfield are on for some cup glory. Further opportunities. This is Davis twisting and turning that Forest defence. Curtis again was involved. One of Chesterfield and Forest are on the rack at the moment. It's always difficult for a substitute goalkeeper to come on at a time like this. He's the hero. And the third of those three is the one that's going to fill many a paper headline tomorrow. Chesterfield hold on. Finish the one. Taken against the outside bar by Dean Saunders of all people. Lost of mud past Lockley Captain, and the mighty sympathy is going to happen. It's back to the keep rolling out. Oh, he stumbled at the critical moment, and Jonathan Howard has blown a chance of further glory. Forest returned over and got the ball in there sharply. So away again. Out by Curtis, up to Morris! And Nottingham Forest go out of the great cup, and what a make they say later. The Chesterfield, their hero Curtis. His penalty did the trick. Delight for the youngsters, delight by the manager. There he is, John Gunning, going to be hand readily assistant. It's a made the biggest Chesterfield as a miserable one for a few years. And who could have predicted that scoreline? It's Chesterfield 1, Nottingham Forest 0. At the start of the competition, when 570 teams entered, people nominated Chesterfield or Wrexham to play a part in the semi-finals. But we're here at the results again to see which is the two emerges. A lovely welcome for the two teams. Robinson is driven on well here, and he might be something of interest for Howard. Right across goal from Jonathan Howard, but Marriott can save it for Wrexham. Very good goalkeeper, Marriott. Bournemouth ball inside the defender to Howard, the opposed the bomb for Wrexham. Lost up to be a bit defensive, and Howard then just tried to screw it back across goal, and it went up and over. Wrexham very close to going out, and here is Bournemouth now, and Bournemouth might just get in here. Here he goes! Chris Bournemouth is the hero of the supporters, and the former Stockport Kitchen man who was the only summer signing made by John Duncan. Scored his first FA Cup goal with the club. It's second goal he scored for them. What a final one! It may be decisive. The ball was pushed from there. He got the better end of the defender, shutting off between the paper and the goalkeeper. And to the delight of those fans to feel lead. And it's Chesterfield now who have the chance further out of their capable of it's astonishing. This was the man who's given them a chance. Bournemouth, he may go for goal again. Oh, nearly 2 in 2 minutes for him. 11 other space made by Marriott. Wrexham under siege. And it's made out of heavy Chesterfield to all make up the semi-final race. John Duncan knows that Chesterfield are on the verge of the most famous day in their history. But little town has never known much glory in terms of football and success. Their players, they want to hoist them high on their shoulders. Soon to go along like quick best moment. It's carried out Chesterfield in the second division, unbelievably into the FA FA Cup finals.
Well, he came to the side of the in 68, 69. So it was a struggling side. Chesterfield has been really well this season before when you were, of course, in the intermediates. Then you were introduced in a style, not just what happened between the end of 68 and 69 and the start of 69 and 70 to turn Chesterfield into a promotion for?
Well, I didn't start the first 30 years because I left out the previous year. But because the Chesterfield lost the first game in the Bradford Cup game, they lost that as well. They got me off in play and they whole rest of the season. Kevin, luckily Kevin got kicked out for a couple of 3 games. And then we both came back together. And that's when we really just again and scored probably 40 goals between us.
That summer leading up to the season, Jim had done a lot of work with
Well, yeah, because I wasn't wanted to a degree previously. He did. He kept me from April all the way through training. Doing a lot of physical stuff and trying to cross the ball well. And eventually I got really well. That's when I changed, yeah.
Of course, in that summer he brought in a couple of key players as well, like of course, Confetti, a wonderful footballer. Were they the final pieces in the jigsaw?
They were brilliant. They brought a lot of people which I felt games wouldn't have takes back. And then, of course, Alan Stevenson. So everything that developed brilliantly. But all the players were sort of different in all different areas, which made the detail good.
Well, of course, you mentioned about Alan Stevens, Alan Humphreys started off in goal, then went into an injury, and it was a take coach around and good at working on
and unfortunately, because Mr. Fitzgerald he played well, then we had the Bell. Instead of went through the game and picked up, and we beat them at one score, and he was used to set well. And that's how he played against was he best control. But we beat him.
So at what time did you start feeling that you've got a team together that could start on those top of all the positions?
I don't really understand everything like that because I just wanted to just keep playing each game. When I scored quite early in the season against Newport, 4 goals. And then Kevin and myself, we started combining together and we scored. And I got really good. I enjoyed it all the way through. And then the end started to build up towards the end of the season. And that's when everybody got really into it. And we got to watch.
Have you ever had an understanding of the player on the side up top? You like having because it's just magical.
No, really. On those particular, that particular first 2 or 3 years, that's when Kevin and me were both playing. Other people came in, but Kevin was the top man for me. He was a really good player. The cross-country, I did this I would hold it up and give it to the individual midfield players, and Kevin had pretty good to the chance to a great career.
Initially, I really understand that I would hold it. But I would also have to look for who Jim was introduced to the other guy. He was very well at that time. Played closely to the season and didn't score a league goal, I think, he's in the World Cup. Last goal league goal was the other season. But Jim really kept faith in him and get made an offer for us to this year because we complemented each other. of the boys, you know. And I had the ability to make and crumbs lots of times. So I could supply the crosses and only could get the headers in. And we just had a chemistry where I had a lot for him, and I was just the ball in the entire area, and I've been there. At the end of it, he was the same. He was saying something where he was always coming.
But of course, one of the things that people who perhaps start watching football more recently forget is that only one subject in the you need to have a huge squad of a team. The start time of the is pretty predictable. It really can change a lot.
I mean, the substitute was on the right bench. Hardly ever got on, unless someone got injured, rather than you were losing the game, trying to put somebody off. That's the opportunity league, and you don't do that. But if someone got injured, then the change just was on the one goal. But it did go quite well for us because we all stayed on the pitch.
How influential for you as well as for Chesterfield was it?
Spot on. It was Scottish guy, and you know he's passed away. For me, he wasn't didn't argue. He didn't really criticise me. He started to develop. For that first year, and then the way he put his arm around us, he's sort of trying to develop and get better. We're pleased to get better and better as a game. So I just worked hard, and then he said,
Often watching goals like state game from your head. Is that just a natural instinct now when the time that you change or all something that you learn?
No, definitely. That's what I was learning. But because I was quite tall, and to be fair, it was quite late in the game when I was quite fit and for my minutes. Maybe 2 of the centre backs, 75 minutes, and then that's why I managed to sort of get high there and score goals because I was young and I was fit. But then it developed as it went further on and on. It did get better with the feet, but right, left wasn't very good. But equally that was okay. But I wasn't really quick. But big feet on front and other new people played off me. Midfield players were quality, centre backs and defenders were excellent, keeper. So everything in the team was good.
And of course, director was has somebody who could place free kicks and corner kicks like Tom Fennerty was just a bonus, wasn't it?
Well, it wasn't particularly corners or free kicks, whereby I charges hitting all over him. And on that particular the season that we won, for the corners in particular, Tom Fennerty would be near post. And then the big guys, me, Charles, Alfie Finland, probably even Ken Randall, we'd all go like to certain areas when the ball playing kept being flicked off, which was cool.
As the season unfurled, Chesterfield, like the likes of Wrexham and Swansea and Port Vale were clear at the time, and the team was going to they wanted to beat. There were some cracking games involving those teams.
There were, because we got it. It was quality. I mean, but we just went in and we were looking at that particular team for next Saturday. We were looking more ahead. We were looking at a particular team and training throughout the whole week. We were really looking at it and saying, this is where we're going to be. League saying, certain people, certain defenders, this, that, and it was slowly altered a little bit. But we worked so hard throughout the whole 11 players. That was great.
Promotion away from home at Exeter, I think, was it true that away at Exeter? Anyway, what were the feelings when you came off the pitch and all the results had gone the right way?
Well, it was good because when we next, I think we equalised. It was 1-1. Yeah. But when we came back off, everything was, and everybody was cheering and come back to us on the coach. And one or two people had a drink. But then we did go across to where did we go to? Lost. To on the Friday evening, and having on the holiday, actually scored a goal. But I did too. I was 2-1. And then the following Saturday, we beat Peterborough up here, and when we got a bit of medals and that's the actual stuff.
I've heard a story. I think Noel Holmes told me a story some time ago because the 6-down set is quite a few reunion. He said that he knew gave everybody a penknife at the end as a thank you.
Yes,
the Sheffield Commission give them a penny, anybody who gives a penny, gives you a penny. And I thought as you say that you came on top of it.
Yeah, it was, and I mean, it was a quite cool like the whole thing really. When the game was there, I should show it. A little penknife.
Did you get vouchers when you come out to the team?
I'm not going to tell you how much wages we got. We got very little. But that didn't worry me because I just enjoyed it. I just loved playing football. Even now, quite expensive.
So we're here in the home dressing room now. We're sitting in the bit that used to be up. Used to be the bankies mate. Waiting to be bringing around if we could choose, or we just told just to go a bit.
Well, this is where I was. Anyway, it was number 8. Big things. Everybody came in when we were training. There was obviously in the actual school we were kicking off on Saturday. It was a goalkeeper, number 2 for 3, and this is where number 8 was. So that was fine. And then there was a substitute. That was excellent.
So at that time, were you still doing the majority of training at Pitt Street?
Yeah, we did go across the Pitt Street. We equally did a lot of heavy running around the outside of the pitch. But it was early in the week. That was Monday or Tuesday, and then we developed it. But equally, we did go running around the Wood as much as possible.
You went to win across the Chester yourself, man.
Yeah.
You didn't win sprints.
Oh, I never won I would never ever get close to something like that. So when I got it, I was 4 I was just past everybody. And equally, we went underneath the and we were doing a lot of work with what was it called? What was it? And we had to be up and down onto the benches just to get fit. We were sweating. But underneath there, that was good.
So now, in a match, the player will come out at 2:05 and do a rigorous warm-up. You guys used to just come out of the pitch and start playing warm-ups.
A little bit of warm-ups and stretches, but when we were told what we were doing by the manager and the assistant, etc., and then we'd go out about quarter to and warm up, stay out there and play. Whereas now it changes differently, doesn't it? You know, they go out, come back in, do this, do that. But we were just going out there and tell them what to do. Take the line, and then we'd work for 5 minutes or so. Then we'd kick off.
Let's take on Portugal each. The brand new stand in 1936 opened Sheffield United to a record crowd. And then just a year or so later, the great Arsenal side, 7 internationals like James King, the class dynasty, came to Saltergate and played in the FA Cup. We're in the physio's room here. In those days, sponge, cold water, bucket, that was about the best we could ask. But Arsenal ran around Saltergate and ran around Chesterfield and came out easy winners. Chesterfield finished with 9 men, no substitutes back in the 30s. They were a feature that didn't come in 1960, believe it or not. So 9 men against the likes of Arsenal, no chance for the Spikes. Arsenal, of course, in the early 1930s have won 3 consecutive First Division titles, only the second time ever to do that for us till now, being the first. But Chapman had been the manager of the first couple of seasons on both of those occasions. Arsenal had kicked on after the death of Chapman, and they came with the likes of Drake, who scored a hat-trick in the man of match. Now, Chesterfield were a pretty good side at that time. They'd been promoted in the 35-36 season. Brand new stand had been built, and for most of that campaign was sitting for completing in mid-table position. Then brought in Walter Miller, who cost £92,000 from Manchester United at the time, but he went on to win 4 caps for Ireland whilst a Chesterfield player. Going into the game with Arsenal, really, London were always a favourite. And when Charlie Reid and Jack Seagrave were injured for Chesterfield, it was always going to be difficult. Goal penalty from Simon, one of Chesterfield's all-time greats, who was in the RAF in the war. Gave great service and was just killed in a raid in Germany just before the end of the war in 1945. Also featuring for the Spires Horace Wass, who put up well over 400 league appearances for the Spire Armies. But notable for his skill at cricket as well, where he actually played for Scotland at cricket. Just to put how good Chesterfield were in perspective at that time, soon after the game during that 37 season, Chesterfield took 4 past Doncaster Rovers in the very next game. And then they also put 4 past Nottingham Forest and Newcastle United. They scored 7 against Man City. So it showed just how good Arsenal was doing at that time. Well, of course, we enjoyed the Anglo-Scottish Cup in the 80s, the FA Cup semi-final run in the 90s. We've never really enjoyed too much success in the League Cup until the 2000s, well into the career of the Premiership and the big-time Charlies of West Ham, Manchester City and Charlton Athletic followed Wolves, who had beaten at the first hurdle on penalties, to come to Saltergate. They weren't too enamoured with what they saw in their accommodation here at Saltergate.
Clark, that's Little out wide to Darren Potter. Ball in, they're going to go all the way through. It is Ricketts, and it's over the line, is it? No! Right across the face of the goal from Rowan Ricketts, and nobody to put it in the back of the net. The closest will come all right to the goal. And they're still denied. There's a goal going in for either side. Well, Chesterfield were caught there. And the ball straight across the goal. They couldn't have been close to the line, but nobody to stop it out. We'll have the throw. They keep the pressure on. But clock ticking down now, the final seconds of the match. And the linesman flagging for offside again. A free kick will be given, would it? No, the extra time is finished. And we have a penalty competition here at Saltergate. Chesterfield 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0 after 90 minutes. Still 0-0 after extra time. And Chesterfield go to penalties. It's not something they're probably particularly happy with, because Chesterfield, we've often seen them losing penalty competition. Let's hope tonight it's not one of those occasions. Going down there, and it looks like Kevin Hurst for Chesterfield will be the first penalty taker. So it's behind, it's in front of the Wolves fans where the penalties will be taken. And has that got anything to do with Chesterfield losing such a lot of penalty competitions? You never know. The Wolves fans will do the best to put him off. So it's Kevin Hurst then, with the first penalty for Chesterfield. Thank you very much. Chesterfield 1, Wolves 0. Jamal Johnson, the number 13, goes up now for... In fact, it was Alan O'Hare that took that one. Alan O'Hare that took that penalty. It's now going to be Jamal Johnson, though, for Wolves, against Barry Roach. And Johnson strikes home a good penalty as well. So it's one apiece. Chesterfield 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1, and it's now Phil Picken for the Spyrites. And Phil Picken makes it 2-1, a brave effort there from the Wolves goalkeeper. The Wolves fans started to cheer as he looked like he'd almost made the save, but the ball going into the net anyway. And I think this is Rowan Ricketts now for Wolves against Barry Roach. Chesterfield lead 2-1. And another well struck penalty to make it 2 each. So as he goes back, Alex Bailey is the next penalty taker. Chesterfield 2, Wolverhampton Wanderers 2. Alex Bailey then versus Carl Ikeme. The Wolves fans again trying to distract him behind the goal. Bailey has his shot saved. Alex Bailey's had his shot saved. And next up for Wolves is number 14, Darren Potter, on loan from Liverpool. So 2-2, and Alex Bailey is the first one to miss. Darren Potter. Oh, and he's hit the post and it's gone in. slightly looking down the bottom there, but the ball has gone in the back of the net. It hit the inside of the post and went in. And Wolves lead by 3 goals to 2 now, as number 9, Wayne Allison, comes up to take Chesterfield's 4th penalty. Chesterfield, of course, now need Wolves to miss one. This is Wayne Allison, he needs to score. And he does score. Wayne Allison makes Chesterfield 3, Wolves 3, but Jamie Clapham, the number 11, is next up for Wolves. Clapham then against Roach, and it's a good penalty from Jamie Clapham. And it's 4-3 to Wolves. Chesterfield's final penalty taker is Derek Niven. And Derek Niven, if Derek Niven misses this, then Wolves are through. If he scores it, then Wolves can seal it or not on their last penalty. An important one for Derek Niven. And he scores straight down the middle. Derek Niven, it means that Chesterfield have 4 penalties and only one has been missed. That's been by Alex Bailey. And the skipper for Wolves now, number 6, Jody Craddock. Jody Craddock then versus Barry Roach. And Jody Craddock has got it in the wall. And Chesterfield have qualified for the second round for the first time in 23 years on a penalty competition. They've not won a penalty competition for 23 years, but they've done it tonight.
Just playing it in. Weaver came, and it's dropped in. And Chesterfield have their thoroughly merited equaliser. And Saltergate is jumping. He's done really well here to get into the box and to hang up a cross away by Rayner. Oh, what a strike! What a wonderful strike from Derek Niven! That is a fabulous goal of what is turning into a fabulous night for Chesterfield Football Club. You won't see a purer hit of the ball anywhere, anytime.
Rio Coco's not really been in the game for too much. This one is most effective down on the right, that's for sure. Now Foden might go through here. Oh! Saved off the post and then in. What like it? And they are back level. I said don't write them off. I don't know there. Not sizing up his options here. Oh, ricochet, surely in it is from Bournemouth.
Australian centre-half Downs is a natural target. O'Hare in the mix as well. Hurst playing it in low. You've got a flick and it's in! Not killed, just to celebrate by Hurst. And Chesterfield have a lead inside the first 2 minutes. Right, to begin the second half, just as they began the first, with a very early corner. Ryderson close to Downs. It's in! Carbon copy of his this time, Caleb Roman again! A goal against Manchester City, a goal against West Ham, and now a goal against Charlton Athletic. moment. Alex, good header. Alisson! They just will not be beaten. My chief, in the 120th minute, first on his header, Alisson's header was deflected in. Seconds and then penalties. When Chesterfield beat Wolves in the first round of this year's League Cup, they did so on penalties, and Kevin Hurst took the first one. It is Hurst again now. Chesterfield, just as it was 2 minutes into the 90 minutes. Darren Bent, already 1 goal on the night, already 8 goals for the season. Charlton's certainty. Adam Smith, the substitute. It's gone well. Young man, very calm. Looking player. To Chesterfield. Not much of a run. Doesn't hit the target. Hasselbank has already hit the target twice for Charlton on the night. What a good save too from Barry Roach. There was plenty behind Hasselback's right boot. He was clattering this for the bottom corner. But Roach got across. And it is advantage Chesterfield. All on Scott Carson now. Derek Niven has played a major part in this cup run. Carson has denied it. It's a save each. Chesterfield lead 2-1. Charlton have a kick in hand. Niven knows he was too close to Carson. Eddie Reid trying to take the pressure off himself here. Irish grin, the wide eyes of the goalkeeper. Reid has fired it straight down the middle. 2-2. That Irishman beat the Irishman between the sticks. Wayne Allison, the grand old man of Chesterfield. The man who dragged this tie into this penalty shootout. Scores. Firm on target, kicking out the corner. Darren Ambrose. That's a good one. It is 3-3 after 4 each. To all intents and purposes now, it is sudden death.
Mark Allott, the captain of Chesterfield, with the whole of Chesterfield on his side. The leader, wearer of the armband, denied. It's a very good save by Scott Carson. And it means that if Herman Hreiderson scores with the next kick, Charlton go through. It's been a painful process. Roy McFarland has come so far with his willing young side. But if Herman Hreiderson scores here, Charlton squeak through. And he does score, and Charlton do go through to the quarter-finals of the League Cup for the first time ever. What a tie, what a meaningful embrace, and what an effort, despite the celebrations of those Charlton fans. What an effort from Chesterfield, whose run was great fun while it lasted.
And just imagine if you just missed a penalty for Wolves, or conceded a quarter-season blockbuster, or seen Caleb Folland take the game away from you in the last minute or two of the game. You had to come and clean up in here. Over the years, legions of players have been in the Chesterfield away dressing rooms. I think now, instead of thinking legions, it's Legionellas. Well, only we've talked about the 69-70 and the great team there, but of course on your return, the 79-80, then 80-81 Chesterfield team was another great lineup built by Arthur Cox and taken on by Frank Barlow. And the 79-80 side just missed out on promotion, and then the addition of Danny Wilson took it to a new sphere, didn't it? Really, that summer.
It did. It was superb. Well, when Arthur, he was quality, but Frank was also brilliant as well. Frank Barlow, and the team that we've got with Birchie and Phil Bonnyman and absolute quality.
At the start of that season, a bit of a pre-season tournament in the Anglo-Scottish Cup and games against Sheffield United, Grimsby Hall. Did you think what that might lead to?
Well, we did. We were playing like that, and when I scored at Hull, was it Hull? Grimsby. When I scored at Grimsby, which was a long way out, when I just whacked it, and we actually managed to win. Luckily enough, and it was very, very late in the game. So then we got into the Anglo-Scottish Cup, so that we could be okay, and that was superb. But to play against Glasgow Rangers was brilliant.
Well, going to Glasgow Rangers, because of course before that match, Arthur Cox got the job at Newcastle United and moved up there, and Frank came in from the number 2 position, ex-player of course. And his first 2 or 3 games were just like awesome. A 6-2 win away at Carlisle, and then what I think is the best football I've ever seen played by a Chesterfield side, the first half against Colchester United, 3-0 at half time. Just how good were those 2 performances?
It was excellent. Frank Barlow was superb. He's a smashing guy because he came from Sheffield United to play with me, and he became a coach, and then he became a manager, and he's such a great guy. But you're quite right. When we went up to Carlisle, and we absolutely hammered them 6-2. Birchie got 3, I got 2. Phil Walker got 1. But to come when we played of an evening against Colchester here, the first 45 minutes when I think we were 3-0 up at half time. That particular 45 was superb, really brilliant for all the players, and we hammered Colchester 3-0.
I don't think it would have mattered who had played that night. That if the other team's not got the ball, there's nothing much they can do about it.
No, there wasn't. But everybody, from the goalkeeper all the way up to the front people, developed brilliantly. And for the first 45, we battered them. Second half, they came out and they wanted just to defend because they didn't want to lose 6-0 or whatever. So they defended a little bit better. But the first half, we played brilliantly.
By that time, of course, we knew the draw for the Anglo-Scottish knockout section, and of course, Glasgow Rangers had come out first leg away from home. They not qualified for Europe that season, but they played their absolute first team up at Ibrox,
yes, they did.
And Chesterfield got a very creditable draw. What do you remember of the experience up at Ibrox?
Yeah, well, we went up and we stayed at, obviously, superb hotel, went to Ibrox, and there was about 25,000 people in Ibrox watching us, and they scored a goal, but then Phil Walker developed, he drilled the ball in from the corner, and it just kept going and flew into the far post. So nobody touched it, so he'd scored there, and we then worked our socks off, and we came back 1-1, which was great.
Funny enough, I remember him scoring down from a corner at Swansea as well. And,
oh yes, of course.
Didn't he? When they won promotion in what was a massive game for them.
He does that well because he whips the ball in and he does swerve quite well.
So the Scottish press were quite surprised because they expected Rangers to trounce a team from the third division below. You know, then sort of one of the greats of British football. And no doubt John Gregg, who was the manager, some of the quotes that were attributed to him at the time were bandied around the dressing room, certainly particularly about Colin Tarr.
Oh yes, there were. But when we were coming back, you know, we came back on the bus. It's a long way, but to win, to draw 1-1 and then come back for the second leg, it was going to be really superb. And a lot of the Rangers supporters did travel down to Chesterfield.
Yeah, they did, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
Well, it wasn't quite all quiet on the Western Front. I mean, all the pubs closed and not quite boarded up, but it was a bit like the siege of Mafeking, I think, when they came to town.
Yes.
But, of course, that night must rank as one of your greatest nights.
Oh, yes,
but in blue, of course, so they played in red that day.
And